What's up, dudes? Max here. Gonna make kind of a unique video. I'm trying to figure out how I even want to start this. But today is kind of a special day. I'm about to get access to a preview of one of the most anticipated games of next year, if not of the past couple of years, and it is Elden Ring. And I don't want this to come across as like a bragging type of video, because I'm genuinely not trying to brag about this. It's made me realize the situation that I'm in, and how certain things have affected me in certain ways over the past like 10 years of content creation, 8 years of streaming, how I even view video games now. And I have been ridiculously excited about this game for a very long time. Granted, Souls games in general on my channel tend to do very well because I really enjoy the experience. And I think that a Souls game, when it first comes out and nobody knows what's going on, is one of the most magical video game experiences you can have. But I'm sitting here on a night where I should have started possibly 5 hours ago. I have access to the game, and I just haven't been able to start it. And the reasoning behind it is something that I've mentioned a few times every time we do a stream, every once in a while, that I have this really unique issue that I don't think is relevant to many people, because most people's situations with games is going to be arguably very different than my own. But I realize how my perception of video games has changed so much since being a content creator, that it's had like a vast impact, where this has been causing me a ridiculous amount of anxiety for no reason. I'm trying to identify the reason in this conversation for the past like 8 hours. So here we are. I am waiting to fire up Elden Ring. I think I've actually gotten to the point where I'm comfortable and everything else around me has been taken care of, and I can actually start up this thing and give you guys some first impressions on how the game is and all this kind of stuff. But this is sort of unique because we're not going to press events, you know, where we're going to be meeting and talking to a whole bunch of people that are kind of excited about the same thing. This is like a build that we're being sent early of the network test. I think most of you will be playing next week. And I've realized something. I have realized that it is increasingly difficult for me to enjoy games alone, to the point where I have barely put any time, like a very, 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 very minute fraction of time, into any kind of video game outside of streaming. And I think what I'm trying to get at is that I think streaming games has messed me up. At least it's messed up my perception of what video games kind of are. And to me, games now, either it's made me realize this or what, I definitely was at a point where I can enjoy games alone for a very long time. But even streaming in your video games had me focus more on playing other single player titles and not just like competitive fighting games. Even though I played something here and there, your video games actually got me back into playing a bit more single player games. You know what I mean? So this was back in like 2012. I'm just used to games being a very social experience, to the point where even imagining jumping into something like Elden Ring without the chat there, and yes, having a chat room on Twitch with as many people as mine has, with like 10,000 plus average, and if it's a big game like Elden Ring, I can't even imagine how crazy it's going to be. But even just having people there to share that experience with you, instead of it being something that's like relatively selfish or solo, like, you know, this network test, which we're not allowed to share with anybody for quite a few days, has left me in a pinch where I'm like, I'm having a severe issue firing this thing up, even though I've had access to it for like a day and a half. Streaming has messed me up. Like, I need people with me to play games and actually enjoy them more. I feel like I enjoy, it's not that a lot of people are going to be saying it's like, oh, you don't like games anymore once it became your job. I don't think it's that. I think I'm arguably even more excited for big titles and, you know, huge entries in a series that I love, if not giant fighting games, than ever before, because it is my job. Like, I am genuinely super excited that I get to share this with a lot of people, and it is actually my employment. I don't think it's my job to like things, right? I don't think that's the case. I don't think it's my job that you have to have fun with this or else it's not going to go well, because I still play a lot of older stuff that I genuinely enjoy. But it's the fact that I'm enjoying it with a lot of people at once. And I feel that Twitch, if not streaming, if not YouTube or anything, it's hard for me to play video games alone in any fashion at all. And it's weird to say that. It's weird to say that because I know a lot of people, video games are like a comfort zone for you, where it's like an escape from either a super busy household or a hectic job or something like that, where it's this like comfort zone that you can essentially go to where it's just you and whatever world you're jumping into. And for me, it's like completely opposite now. Like I have to be around people, or at least with a chat room of collected energy to enjoy games. But I feel like I've had this issue before in general with even music. And I remember this when I was a bit younger, when throwing in like a CD or listening to predetermined tunes, like a playlist, would leave me a little bit dissatisfied, weirdly enough. I feel it's the same way when you turn on the radio and you have a favorite song, and then your favorite song comes on the radio. And then that surprise, that connected energy that, you know, a lot of other people are listening to this thing that you love as well. And you're able to sort of like, you know, just with the idea that there's a lot of other eyes and ears behind the other side, and make that connection to where the song is way more enjoyable. Once you have that, like essentially what I have had with a very wonderful chat room on Twitch that sometimes can get very backseaty, or sometimes can just be awesome when they're just there to see my reaction to things, has spoiled me so much for so long that I'm at the point right now where I'm finding it difficult to even fire up Elden Ring, which is arguably one of the biggest divisive changes to the Souls formula in a bunch of games that I really enjoy playing, including one that is one of my favorite games of all time. So I know this video might come across as a little weird to some of you guys, but it's a thing that I have to explain every once in a while, and it's going to be good to have it in a video. That streaming has actually messed me up. It's messed up my perception of games, of what sharing a collected video game experience kind of is, and it's made me realize why I wanted to keep Yo Video Games a certain way for so long, and it was to emulate the arcade, because the arcade experience is naturally a social experience in one way or another. There is some sort of like direct connection happening there, and to me, that is such a critical part of games in general, regardless if it's competitive games or multiplayer games or single player games. It's almost that way for everything, to the point where I almost feel like I'm betraying a whole bunch of people, even by not having it be live, because over many years, I've been offered many opportunities to play things behind closed doors. And I've declined some of those ways to be like, I'll just wait for the public beta and I'll just play it. And I couldn't miss this opportunity because it was a bit earlier, and the impressions will be going up a bit earlier before the beta. So I was like, you know what, I better do this. It's just a weird situation that I'm in. So I don't expect you guys to sympathize with what's going on here. I know this is a very weird situation, but for anyone that's like wondering what I play off stream, or how much time of my life has been spent over the past 10 years to off stream competitive fighting games or multiplayer games or anything, it's been very little. And I think it's because being a content creator, if not making YouTube videos and streaming on Twitch for so long, has had a profound effect on what my enjoyment of games actually is. And I really need people to share it with. Anyway, I'm glad I got that off my chest, because it did help me alleviate a little bit of this weird anxiety that I have. I'm going to do my best to fire up Elden Ring right now, get you guys some impressions of what's going on, and hopefully get the videos up as quickly as possible, as soon as they are possibly available on the channel. And it might be a little bit of time before the network test actually goes live. So anyway, thank you guys for listening. It's weird to talk to you directly without there being a chat here of some kind, but every once in a while I'm put into a situation that I'm kind of like perturbed, and I don't know how to approach all this until I have somewhat of a clarification of what's going on. So that's where I'm at. I'm going to get this thing started. Thank you dudes very much for watching, for anyone that chose to sit through this, and I'll see you next time.